welcome. Thank you. We're back in for another big chat with Ricky West himself. And we have a wonderful, very special guest, a longtime friend of mine. We were in the same kindergarten class together. We've known each other since we were 5 years old. And he goes by the name of Max
Thank
Ziffer.
you, Sir Westerman. Back to the days of Miss Van Buren 21 years ago. I've waited 2 decades for this. I remember back in kindergarten, I actually went up to you by the cubbies in that class and I said, "Do you want to hang out or be my friend or something?" And you said no. and I
That is
haven't
awesome.
forgotten. And I've
Wow.
waited my whole life to gain your acceptance, and I finally made it.
You have made it to the big chats realm, to the big chats room, to the laboratory, to the office, whatever you want to call it. You're here.
The best moment of my life. Let's rip it.
Beautiful. So, Mr. Ziffer, uh, I just want to let everyone know before we start, this is powered by StreamYard. As you can all see, StreamYard. And if you see us looking up, if you see us interact with a TV screen, we have the quad screen going. We have 4 college games going. Well, actually, it looks like one of them ended, so there are three still
Yes.
going.
I'm actually watching my $100 two-team teaser go down the drain because Caleb Williams is having the worst game of his lifetime. The second I put a dollar on him.
He is. He threw for 3 picks in the first half. He has. He went into this game only throwing one interception before.
Yeah, it's a little lesson, folks. If you want to make serious money, ask me who I bet on and put your net worth on the other team. It will make you a fortune.
I don't know, Max. You've been kind of hot lately with the bets. You've been streaking pretty well, I will say.
Yeah, I'm about even. So for me, how many weeks are we in? 6, 7 weeks. That's outstanding.
It
So
is. It absolutely is. We love it. We love to hear it. I hope everybody is enjoying themselves. Okay, so today we are going to get into the fight of the day that we saw earlier today. Dylan Dennis, the joke himself, versus not Jake Paul, but Logan Paul, folks. Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis. Dennis tortured this man over the web, and Dennis made an absolute fool of himself in the ring today. Guy is an absolute loser. Max, do you have any takes on this?
yeah, man. I think about this and I realize that as you grow older in life, you have to take accountability. And I take accountability for not charging my Tesla and being late to dinner with my family. I take accountability for being lazy and buying new clothes and having shirts that are 2 sizes too small.
Correct.
And I now take accountability for being suckered into this absolute mess of a boxing card, whatever you want to call it, that we saw this afternoon. It was horrendous. And the thing is, I blame myself because I know I'm not the only one, because I know Dylan Donis gained hundreds of thousands or whatever. He gained a lot of followers off this, and we were eating it up. And I was actually, I'm I feel so stupid. I was actually looking forward to this.
I knew he was a joke the whole time. I knew he was gonna get his ass whooped, which ended up happening. And in the end of the fight, he like tried taking down Jake Paul,
So cringe.
and then he tried just putting him in a headlock and tried to choke him out. Paul got out of that and just smashed him on the floor, and security came in. Like Dennis just looked like an absolute moron. Um, and he continued to call Paul out over the web about his fiance, and it's like the whole thing was just a clout chase ordeal, and it was just utterly saddening.
And here's a number for you. Dylan Dennis landed, I believe, 14 punches.
Wow,
He posted more
that's
photos
disgusting.
of Paul's fiance than punches landed in a fight. I think that is the worst statistic I've heard in sports history.
It probably is. It's It's definitely up there. I know there've been a lot of very, very bad stats. Um, I think Zach Wilson had like a 2-yard game for the Jets last year.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And that I feel is worse.
Yeah, if you could if you could reach out to Eric or comment on this video when it's posted with a more embarrassing statistic, I'll Venmo you $25. First
Yes,
one, and it
please.
has to be worse. He had 14 punches, and he posted more pictures of Logan Paul's fiance than uh, the entire boxing card today.
Yeah, we'll be looking out for the comments.
25
So
bucks.
drop your terrible stats
Let's go.
below because that's a really, really bad stat.
Yeah, and everybody's blaming Dylan Dennis, and everyone's saying not everyone, but people are saying, "Oh, is Logan gonna break up with her? Because all the guys she's hooked up with." And I'm thinking she should break up with him for booking this fight. He's
Yeah,
better than that. This guy's jacked as fuck. Honestly, he knows how to fight, and he knew what he was getting into
fought an
when he booked
absolute
this born
scrub
loser.
today,
Total mess. And the part about him trying to tackle at the end, that whole thing was all of this is so corny and fake.
dude.
So corny.
Dennis Dennis posted a while back. He called himself a certified sex symbol. I think he's the complete opposite. I think he's a very ugly person, and he is indeed a born loser.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him on the cover of GQ personally, but
Yeah, yeah, no, the guy's just a full clout chaser. Um, we actually went to a high school with a social media influencer who had dated him, and I the whole time it seemed like he was utilizing her for clout. Like his whole aspect of internet vibe is just clout, clout, clout. The guy brings nothing to anybody's table. He brings nothing like positive to anybody's life at all. All he does is go on the internet and talk shit. And it's all that he's ever done. He's actually been beefing with the Pauls for like years. He's been trying to fight the Pauls for years. And I can't believe that they finally gave in.
or
I
they got
just
suckered
can't
into
believe
it.
it.
Right. And this whole thing, it makes me think, can we get back to real boxing? It makes me realize this streaming boxing phase we're in, where the best, the highest viewership cards are with YouTubers and streamers and the Pauls. And I realized it sucks. It always sucks. What happened to Mayweather, Mike Tyson? I still watch Mike Tyson highlights. What happened to professional boxers? Do I want to watch streamers playing basketball or any other sport? Can we make boxing great again, please?
Mm, turnover on downs.
For USC? I hope my girlfriend isn't watching. I just burned another $100. I'm even though. I'm not down. I'm even
Hey, you know
until
what?
tomorrow.
You know what? It's a positive when you're even. It's a positive when you're even. Okay, so we're gonna move into a major turnaround football game last night that I stayed up till about 2:33 and 3 o'clock in the morning, finishing out this game was Colorado versus Stanford. Colorado was up 29-0, was it?
29-0 at
At the
halftime.
half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 29-0 at halftime.
And they lost.
And they ended up losing. And I think this is where the dust settles and you kind of see who Colorado really is. There's so much hype behind them with all the talk from Coach Prime and the swag, the glasses, the prime time viewership, and you realize what they really are. And they're just maybe an average, maybe above average program in the process of rebuilding. And what I got from it, what you see who they really are, and I guess you just got to appreciate it, them moving forward and realize that they're in the transitional phase and they're not a ranked team. And they may get there, but for the better part of 2 decades, since 2004, Colorado has probably averaged, I think I looked before this, 4, 5, 6 wins a season in that range.
Mm, terrible. Well, I think Dion going there is definitely a big plus for the organization. I think they're going to be better for years to come, which is good. I think they're going to lose their QB though after this year. I think he's going to go to the league. Shador Sanders, who was 33 for 47 last night, 400 yards, 5 TDs, but he had a major breakdown rookie mistake in double overtime. He just threw the ball up and just threw it up to just be picked by Stanford. And in college OT, you start on the 25-yard line when you start your possession. So the game was pretty much over from there. Stanford just got a first down, and then they just kicked a field goal to end it.
I mean, at that point, he could have threw it away. They could have kicked a field goal and then held Stanford to a field goal, and it would
Correct.
be in another overtime.
Correct. Exactly. Which is why there, if you have nothing and you're going down, just throw it away.
And I think that's part of the image when when these guys are going onto the field, they know they're prime time. It's sold out. He's trying to be the QB hero, being ingrained in history forever, make a crazy throw to save the day, and it's an inexperienced mistake, and it costs that. And that, by the way, that's a really bad loss. It was the
Very.
worst team of the conference at home,
1-4 they
29-0.
were.
What right, and they're really bad except for Io Neymar. Io Neymar. His name is hard to pronounce. I'm
No,
sorry.
Io Manor.
Are you serious?
Io
We went over
Manor.
that like 10 times before the
Yes.
show. Io Manor is a born winner, and he's going to be a big name in the NFL. You know why? Because he set a school record for 294 yards, 3 touchdowns, including a game winner off the helmet of what's it,
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
That was an unbelievable catch. I was in shock. My jaw dropped. My eyes almost popped out of my face. I was like, what did I just see? That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. He also had 13 receptions to add on. The guy was absolutely eating. He was feasting on whoever the other corner is for Colorado. Travis Hunter was like, I need to guard this guy. And he continued to eat. Continued.
Seemed like Hunter was guarding in the majority of the game, especially in crunch time. Him playing
Yes.
on both ends of the
Crunch time he
field.
was.
Don't you think he gets a little tired doing that? Is that sustainable?
Absolutely. He definitely does get tired. Um, do I think it's sustainable? For 99% of people in this world, no. But he's built different. And if Dion trusts it on both sides of the ball all game long, I mean, as a head coach, he's going to do what's best for the team and the organization itself. So if the head coach feels that way, then he knows the guy's built different and he does different things.
I'm a numbers guy. You say he's built different. He almost gave up 300 yards.
Mm-mm. That was the combined team.
Combined team, but in crunch time, he was eaten
But
alive.
yes, yeah, he was getting eaten up. This guy Io Manor has proven himself last night. He is now going to be drafted in the NFL via last night's performance. That was absolutely ridiculous. 294 receiving yards.
Yeah, school record.
Like that that is mind blowing.
Yeah.
That is mind blowing. You'll hear big games for 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase did it. George Kittle did it last week. Um, but 294 receiving yards
And look, with
is
all due
unreal.
respect, Stanford, they're not good in including the QB. They're not good. So it
Correct.
was really just lob it to this guy and watch me do the work.
Correct.
And he put the team on his back, and he's a born winner. And this will not be forgotten in Stanford history. Born winner of the week.
Io Manor.
Io Minor.
Born winner of the week. Born winner. Ideal. Ideal. Io. Io. All right. So we're gonna move on here to we're in college football, so I only think it's right. I think it's like very cool how for the first time in a long time, I don't know who's gonna win the national championship this year. I genuinely don't. And I think that's a big factor dedicated to the NIL contract, um, that college football players are now able to receive money off of their likeness, basically. So you have all these school boosters sponsoring these kids and paying these kids to come play for the schools. And I think it's really evened out the playing field because it used to be these guys would chase, um I mean, and now they're chasing the bag. But before, their way of chasing the bag was they'd go to an SEC school, or they'd go to Alabama, who's still SEC, but like Bama, best of the best for a long, long time. And if you compete really well in the SEC, then chances are you're going to get drafted pretty high. So now these guys could just get paid off rip. So if they're going to make more money going somewhere else, like, you never know if you're going to be able to play the very next day. You don't know when your last snap is going to be. All these guys can face career-ending injuries whenever. So if Texas offers more money than Georgia, I'm going to Texas. Plain and simple.
But here's the thing with that. And you said it's evening out the playing field.
It is.
And here's the question I have to ask you. If I'm a high school player, I'm really good, and I'm choosing from teams to play from, and I have offers from big SEC schools, so some red blood schools, Alabama, Georgia, what have you, and I'm trying to promote and make money off my likeliness, right? And my brand, my name. Wouldn't I want to do that wearing the best of the best, having Georgia on my sleeve, Alabama on my sleeve? Isn't that the best way to generate more revenue, having that brand associated with your name?
Well, so all these big time football schools, like, they're still big time. They're all in the mix of the top 25. But these guys are now getting paid. So they're still going to the big time schools, and it's the big time schools that have the big time money to pay these people. So, like, all the talent's really still funneling in to the big schools. So it's just a more evened out playing field. Bama doesn't have like five-star recruits coming off their bench now, it, which is insane. They literally, their backups were better than anybody who they were playing starters. So now you have these guys going elsewhere because, like, yeah, Bama has a ton of money, but obviously, like, they only want to foot the bill for so many people. And like that goes for all these schools. But like, all these schools have big money to pay. So it's like, if you're gonna get an extra $100,000 to go somewhere else, I'm going to take that extra $100,000. And you know what? Now you see also, which has really stood out to me this year. This is really why I'm bringing up this topic. Is SEC has really run college football for years. Years on end, the SEC has been the pinnacle of college football. Now you see all these SEC teams losing their big matchup games. And like every big matchup that you've seen this year for an SEC team, they've lost. Uh, Georgia's still ranked number one overall, but Georgia hasn't played like a good team yet. I'm pretty sure their best game,
Kentucky, maybe.
yeah, was Kentucky, and that's still SEC, but
It's not
like
premier
that's
SEC.
Kentucky, you know?
At what point do you think that teams like Georgia or the SEC schools are really mixed in the middle and we see a different name reign supreme and win a championship, such as a TCU, which it didn't end up well for TCU. I don't know if they should have been in the the playoff last year, but how long do you think it takes for a different kind of team
Oh
to
my
really?
fumble.
Yeah, I lost my
touchdown.
$100.
Oh my
I have
God.
accepted the L already.
Wow. Notre Dame is pouring it on USC right now.
5-2 Notre Dame beats a 10th ranked school with the best quarterback in the nation, undefeated. The second I put a dollar on them,
Wow.
folks.
Certified #1 overall pick.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. So, that's the thing. That's what I'm getting at here is these schools, there's not going to be a truly dominant school anymore, I feel. Like, yeah, Georgia's won the last 2 years and
Georgia's
they've
still
been
there.
absolutely dominant. And I couldn't tell you the last time that they lost a football game.
Me neither.
But
Not for $1 million.
correct. But this whole like you see Clemson is now average. It was Clemson versus Bama for a long time. Georgia finally jumped over. They finally made that jump that they needed to make. They jumped over the river, and now they have overtaken Alabama as the best school in college football in the country, hands down. But is it going to last long? Do I think it's going to last long? No, I think it ends this year. I do not think Georgia wins it all. Do they have the ability to win it all?
Well,
Yes.
hell yeah.
But I think a team like Michigan or a team like Florida State has their chances. You saw Texas beat Alabama. All these teams, they can win it all. I truly do believe they can win it all. Yeah, Texas lost to Oklahoma, but it wasn't in terrible fashion. So they're still their hopes are still alive for college football playoffs.
They and I feel like part of that is because their name is Alabama. And whenever we say that, we always affiliate it with the decades of success reigning supreme in the whole nation as college football champions. So we always affiliate them with success. And because of that, they're going to be ranked. I believe they won today within the top 10. Don't know if they should actually be there. But you know what? The names in the top four, they've been there before. And that's what I was asking you. It's with all the NIL now and the contracts and the ability to make more money and even the playing field, when are we going to see someone truly different take over and win? Because the names, it's not Alabama, Clemson, but Ohio State, Michigan, FSU, Georgia, they've been here before.
Correct, correct. Well, you see the whole country hop on Colorado this year. Like Colorado has been just a fan favorite by the country this year. And I think that's going to drive a lot of recruits in there. You have Deion Sanders in there, a guy who players will naturally want to play for. Um, just stuff like that. You like I said though, all the big time players excuse me are still going to these big time schools. So I just see it being more evened out
Mhm.
it long term. Like I don't see a school winning or being in the national championship game 3, 4 years in a row anymore. I see you having those same like top 10, top 15 schools, like more of in a rotation. Yeah, at points, these schools are gonna get some school is gonna get crazy recruits and put them and just it's going to click, it's going to work, and that school will be the best school in college football for that year or maybe 2 years in a row because they'll still have these guys for the following year. But then it's going to switch immediately. I don't see it just continuing and continuing like Alabama had it continue for oh so long. You
And
know,
quite frankly, I hope so. And that's why, in my opinion, at least, I think most people share this with me. That's why most people like watching March Madness over the college football playoff. I think a big reason is because it's predictable. That's why people like sports. It's supposed to be unpredictable. Any given Saturday, any given Sunday. And hopefully that's what we're going to see more of these unexpected teams rather than Alabama, Georgia, Clemson over and over again make the college football playoff.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I just think the NIL overall was a good decision. I think it was good for college football, and I think the students definitely deserve to get paid. Yeah, it is a lot putting like a lot of money in such a young person's pocket though, and especially like while they're at college too, where you have all the temptation in the world, especially if you're some superstar athlete who you're going to the big leagues in whatever sport you're playing, and um, there's just a lot that can go wrong, but it's up to their maturity. It's up to who they are as a person to have that commitment, to stay committed and know what their goal is in life. So, all in all, I think it's good. Johnny Manziel funneled in an extra $300 million his
Legend.
Heisman winning year for A&M, and he didn't see a dime of it. So like truly you see these players do make a difference for the schools when it comes to money. So it's only right that the players get some in return.
And they're doing it at a risk. This is not an injury. This is not a sport free of risk. You can get seriously, permanently injured doing this. So it's only right that they're compensated, of course.
Correct, correct. Yeah, so we're gonna move on to NFL here. We got Justin Jefferson is out 4 to 6 weeks. Very, very big hit to the Vikings. They have not been winning games, and they just lost by far the best player on that roster for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So I personally think their season is over.
Every team has a window, and theirs has officially closed, and it's time to hit the reset button.
Correct.
Kirk Cousins is not the guy. They will never get anywhere in the playoffs. They're never going to win a
I
Super
don't think
Bowl
it's Cousins' fault, bro. The defense allows so many points. Cousins' numbers are actually really good this year.
when it matters. Look at his primetime games. When it matters, he's not that great. And I'm not saying he's awful. I'm just saying in general, their window with him, he's not the guy. And they're the sloppiest team in football. And it's just time to hit the reset button in general. Take the L. The Dolphins did it. How many just a few years ago? And look how quick. It's easy to build things back in football. Look how quickly we've turned into an elite team because we decided to hit the reset button. Tank for Tua.
I mean, dude, no, bro. The Dolphins have been so bad for our entire lives.
Well, it's because management.
They've been
How many good?
terrible.
How many great? Not good. Great quarterbacks have we missed out on?
A ton.
A ton. If you're not totally
Culpepper over Drew Brees.
legendary,
Wow. Wow. That was the biggest fumble by the Miami Dolphin organization of all time.
and you got to wonder, would Drew Brees have the same success with the Dolphins? Would they have surrounded him with the right personnel? Even because we've had major issues down here in Miami, but hitting the reset button, if you're not totally incompetent, and you make some good picks and some right moves in the offseason, you can rebuild in 2 to 3 years. And I think for the Vikings, it's their time to do that. They're the sloppiest team in football, even with Jefferson, and Jefferson could be easily top 5 receiver of all time. This guy is outstanding. Kirk Cousins is not the guy anymore. In my opinion, he's a dud. Time to blow it up and reset. What's if they're not resetting right now? What's your solution for the Vikings? What do you do from here?
Honestly, I like Cousins. I'd stick with Kirk. I have to focus on that defense. That you need a new defensive coordinator because they can't be allowing like 28 points minimum per game. Like it's really bad what they're doing there. And you got to build the defense for them because you have the best wide receiver. You have a good quarterback who can get him the ball. You have a an established offense, in my opinion. I feel that their offense is established enough. They can obviously be a little bit better, but you can't play and expect to win games if your defense is allowing all these points. It's like it's kind of like the Dolphins last year. Like if the Dolphins n- like had to win a game, it had to be in like a shootout, and we had to put up 30 plus points. And yeah, we were capable of doing that, but you can't expect an offense to just go off every single week. That's just not how it works. Plain and simple. Like you just don't see you'll never see that. But if you have the good defense, if you have the consistent defense, you will be involved. You will be in every single game that you play in. Bro, take the New York Jets for instance. Their offense sucks, but their defense is great and they're never in blowout scenarios.
Their offense does not have to suck. They have some good names in offense. They do not have to suck. That is because of number one, a bad O line, and number two, a quarter that back that probably should not be in the NFL, or best case scenario, a really bad backup.
Correct.
Correct. We can agree on that. But with the Vikings, I'm just saying realistically, with the offense they have now, Kirk Cousins and Jefferson, even with the good defense, what's your what's the best case scenario for them? Next year, they're healthy. Kirk Cousins, their defense is a little bit better. Jefferson, wh- what's the ceiling? And what are you competing for?
You're competing to get to the NFC Championship game. Um, if you have a quarterback with an arm like Cousins, and if you have a wide receiver like Justin Jefferson, who, if you throw the ball his way, he's going to come down with it.
Most likely.
Um, you know your offense is there, and plus they went out and drafted a wide receiver. I'm pretty sure this year, and they
He is amazing. Every rookie they have.
yeah, they went out, drafted a wide receiver. They need to focus on their defense. They need to just funnel a ton of money into their defense. I don't know how much cap space they'll have this offseason, but whatever it is, you have to funnel it into the defense. I think their O line is good enough right now, and just defense. And because if they can have a good defense, then they will be a winning organization. They will be a 12 to 13 game uh win organization.
13?
12 to 13, yes. 100%.
13 wins.
100%. Dude, so yes, the Niners are great and they end up running away from everyone by the end of each game. But like when their offense does have a bad game, they're still probably going to win the game, or if not, barely lose because of their defense. They will forever be in the football games. Whatever they do, they're going to be involved in the game. Like the Dolphins showed they have the ability to get blown out
Yeah.
via their defense.
And it
So, um, yeah, like they showed that they are not like the San Francisco 49ers. I do feel that a big part of why the Dolphins did get blown out to the Bills is Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs were abusing Kohu. It seemed to be that like every pass that Allen threw was just Kohu's way. And come the next time that we play the Bills, it will not be Kohu in that game. It will be Jalen Ramsey.
and I was at that game. I got sun poisoning at that game. It turns out you actually need sunscreen in Buffalo.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, no. In October, you need sunscreen in Buffalo. I was at that game, and I was really hoping I could come away with the win. Of course, not. And I was brutally harassed by Bills fans. They're not very nice. I went to New England. Those fans, they're actually not bad until I started singing the Miami Dolphins song. They told me to shut up. The Bills fans are pretty bad. But however, the bright side in all this as a Dolphin fan, what I'm trying to say, I kind of appreciated the loss because now we can learn. Teams don't typically figure out who they are until midway through the season, week 7, week 8, week 9. And the Bills show they are very beatable. They got beat badly by Jacksonville, totally shut them down. If we could figure it out, and of course we're Dolphin fans, say we, if we could figure it out, then this we could look back and say, I'm glad we got our asses beat in Buffalo. It happens often. It's a copycat league. You live and learn, and you come back out and make adjustments. The league of adjustments, and if the Dolphins can do that, then we could look back and appreciate the huge L I saw in person.
Correct. Yeah. I like it. Um, I want to hit on this topic. You wanted to hit on this topic,
Yeah.
and you brought up that you think Justin Fields should go to the New York Jets. Tell
Why
us
not?
why.
I mean, the Bears have done obviously. What's his record? 6-27. I might be 6-27, 6-24, whatever. It is an atrocity. And
Sad.
Justin Fields has flaws in his game. You look at the tape, there are moments, and you're slapping your forehead saying, "What on earth is this guy doing?" And then there are moments like on Thursday night, last week, Washington is not a totally horrendous team, and he looked pretty damn good.
Put on a show.
Put on a show, and overall, I don't think that he's representative of his record, 6-24. I think the Bears have done a terrible job of surrounding him with the help he needs to be a decent quarterback. And right now, the Jets, they have a bad O line, which is why Rodgers got hurt the third play. The O line collapsed 2 or 3 times in a row to start the season, out for the year. They need somebody who's mobile and can make plays. They have Garrett Wilson, they have Brees Hall. Overall, they have a talented team. I think it's a perfect fit. They have a young, dynamic quarterback who could run around, create plays, and kind of add to the spread the offense out and add to the potency. And meanwhile, the Bears need to tank. How do you tank? You put Zach Wilson on your damn team. They'll lose every damn game, and they're going to have a great pick in the draft. They have the first 2 picks in the draft.
Yes.
Yeah,
Carolina. Just I don't know why Carolina would give up all they gave up. They gave up so much, and everybody was like, "What are they
and
doing?"
they get Bryce Young out of that.
Yeah, yeah. They
As
they got Bryce Young. You know, you can't judge Bryce Young yet. He's only been in the league for 5 football games. I'm pretty sure. So, like, obviously, you can't judge a QB based off of his first year. My motto is I judge QBs off of after their third season. Their third season, they're matured. You really see what you're going to get out of the quarterback and the potential that they have to grow.
so obviously time is a good factor because you obviously they learn and they build their skill sets and adapt to the new level of professional play. How I judge a quarterback as well, who do they have around them, right? If you put
Correct.
I don't know, Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins,
they traded more. They gave up DJ Moore in the trade to
right?
the
So I'm
Bears.
saying you mentioned like a Kirk Cousins, someone who's I think we could both agree. I think they're not going to get far with them, but he's good. Can we agree he's good?
Correct.
If you put him on the Panthers, what's the record? If you put a good, solid starting quarterback, probably 1-4,
Yeah, when you
zero and
have
5 still.
wheelchair Adam Thielen as your best wide receiver on the
Right.
team, like the guy should be in a wheelchair right
Correct.
now. Retired, old man vibes.
Absolutely.
So you keep DJ Moore. Like, I don't know why they would offer DJ Moore in the trade. Like, of all people, you're bringing in a quarterback. You're trying to bring in a quarterback right now. You need somebody there for him to be better, you know?
Right.
Like, it truly doesn't make sense. I think it was a really, really bad trade on Carolina's part. And now they're going to um, face the wrath of how bad that trade was. They Their first round pick is going to go to the Chicago Bears.
That's
They
so bad
have
because they could
not
get
won a
Marvin.
game. They
They
have
could get
not won a game.
Harrison. If they could have got Marvin Harrison if they waited and tanked, they could have got they could have been in a much better scenario than they are. They really messed up. That's going to turn into like a Denver Broncos scenario where the future looks so dark.
Correct. The Broncos are screwed. Uh, they overpaid Russell Wilson, arguably the worst contract in the NFL. It's up there with Daniel Jones,
Pretty
but
bad.
I think Russell Wilson's has proven to be a worse contract up to this point. He did absolutely nothing last year. He was doggy doo doo.
Doggy doo doo.
He it just is not a winner, plain and simple.
Not anymore. And if you looked at his record in Seattle, his statistics
He was
were
one of the winningest quarterbacks.
of all, I believe he may have had the highest QBR of all time.
Yes,
He was an extremely one of the winningest quarterbacks of all time, a Super Bowl champion. One of, if you think elite quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, he's not at the top of the list, but man, was he high up. And he just lost that X factor, that oomph. And you got to think, is it because did he get the bag? Does he have the success? Does he is he not trying? Is it something in his personal life? It makes no sense. The
it's
team is
crazy.
totally dysfunctional, and it brings to mind, what's the value of a quarterback? Because Russell Wilson, you mentioned Daniel Jones, he's actually shown he has the ability to be good sometimes. Daniel Jones has the worst O line I've ever seen in my life.
Ever,
If you put
ever.
Dan Marino behind that O line and you didn't have a trained eye for football, you'd probably think he's horse shit. Anybody would be horrendous behind that O line.
No, no. I think supposedly like Marino had like the quickest release time in like NFL history. I think
Okay, I picked
I
up the
think
word.
he'd be good,
I
but
picked the
like
worst
yeah, a
example.
lot of a lot of like great QBs would just you'd think they'd be a lot
Right.
worse than they really are because bro, I've never seen a quarterback get sacked this many times per game.
Right.
He was bound to get hurt. He
It's
got
unsafe.
hurt finally against the Dolphins after his sixth sack of the day. Like
How do you even look at the O line in the room? I wonder what it's like in the locker room. You give
bro,
up 13
I'd
sacks.
be heated. Heated.
But you get hit. It's all right, buddy. I'm out with a serious injury and we suck. But it's all good, man. I appreciate it.
Unbelievable. I'd be very pissed off. Um, just all in all, really bad stuff there. Daniel Jones is just not him right now. Uh, Russell Wilson, not him.
He's not, he's the furthest thing on this planet from him.
And I don't know. I think if Fields went to the Jets,
How is that a bad
I
fit?
I think
Is that
I think it's a bad fit
why?
because they have Aaron Rodgers. Like Jets fans are set on Aaron Rodgers. The organization is set on Aaron Rodgers. And yes, he's old. Yes, he got injured, but they're still set on him. The Jets, in my opinion, are not going to go out and try to trade uh first a first round pick and maybe some more for a young QB. I just don't see that happening right now. The Jets are in a win now mode, and
You think they're winning with Zach Wilson?
no, 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 but they're in a win now mode, and Aaron Rodgers is their guy.
And you said old and hurt. And I want to put it, and I don't want to see this, of course, but he's really old and he's really hurt. That's a brutal injury. And you got to ask yourself, and I'm asking you, how good, one through 10, how good is Aaron Rodgers going to be when he comes back?
Dude, you know what? You never know.
Right.
He could
Y-
be the same that he was, or he could not.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, he's what, a four-time MVP? Like,
Something great. He's one of the, obviously he's one of
yeah,
the league's best players I've ever seen, but he's
correct.
40.
So, with that being said, like y- that's something that you don't know. Yes, he's old. Yes, he got one of the worst injuries that you could get as an athlete. But when it comes to just pure natural gifted talent, he has that. So you don't really know. And personally, I think the Jets organization is completely set on Aaron Rodgers. They went out of their way this offseason to get him. He was their GM this offseason. He told them who they need to bring in, and they went and brought in players. They weren't able to bring in everybody, but they tried.
It's because the Jets are the only team desperate enough to listen to a 40-year-old quarterback because their organization has been so awful for the past since Mark. I mean, was that the last time they're relevant? Mark Sanchez when they made the AFC Championship. That's how bad
Yes.
they've been.
Yeah, and Mark Sanchez sucked.
Yeah, how they? That's crazy. They even made the AFC Championship back then. They lost to the Patriots too. But don't want to get off track here. But all I'm saying is I don't think any other team was willing to listen to Aaron Rodgers' demands, and so far they didn't put together a good old line for him. They're going to have to make that adjustment. You said they're set on him. They probably have 1 year left with him at most if he's still himself after that brutal injury and being 40 years old. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Going back to Russell Wilson, I could genuinely see. What's up, Callie? How we doing? Yes. I could genuinely see Russell Wilson being a backup quarterback.
You think he would settle for a backup position?
I
You think
think
Russell Wilson is going to say at 34,
I could see him being a backup quarterback with while getting paid all that money. No other team's going to trade for him and take that money.
no, God, no,
Yeah.
nobody would unless they're trying to tank. I would take him, but why would you pay to tank? I mean, this is going to be when we're a little bit older in like 5 years or whenever he retires, it's going to be like a 30 for 30. What if I told you, bop, 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 I don't know, come up with a good line. Russell Wilson and the story of the Denver Broncos, because they're hardly a professional team. And in the big picture, they have an all-time quarterback. It's just
Oh my.
God, UM is so bad. They are such I'm
Dude,
sorry,
they got fried.
such a loser
Gotta feel
organization.
bad for my boy
Uh,
Mike.
no, I don't feel bad. They
They
suck.
were to finish off his teaser and he had them $100 ML.
Oh.
R.I.P. Mike.
It's his fault for putting his money on the I feel bad for you, Mike, but man, why would you put your money on the Canes after last week especially?
Dude,
Good lord.
horrible. Cristobal needs to be fired. He should have cleaned his desk out the moment after they fumbled. He should have left. Not when Georgia Tech scored, but when they fumbled. He should have cleaned out his desk.
He should have had a moving truck waiting at his house when he pulled up. He
Absolutely.
should have had a moving truck. That's not even something I would do in Madden. And I did some stupid shit playing Madden. We all do. It's a video
Dude,
game.
if you could be in victory formation, then that's it. You win.
It's
That's
hard to
it.
it's hard
You're
to
a winner.
understand. Hard to understand.
Unbelievable. I just genuinely can't believe that. Terrible. But on that note, Max, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you.
Pleasure, sir. I'm sure I'll be on here again. This is the start
Absolutely.
of something great.
Absolutely. Guaranteed you will be. Love to see it. Love to see it. Thank you, crowd. Thank you. Thank you. Greatly appreciate